Hello and welcome to Physio Ed. My name is Francesca and this is your posture and balance class. So today we are focusing on connection and integration. So you'll find yourself in a chair and I invite you to sit all the way back into your chair, get comfortable, and let's start with just closing the eyes. And with your eyes closed, notice if your shoulders are rounding forward, if they're rounding forward at all, causing you to sort of cave forward like this with your chest. And then just draw your shoulders back in space. And then let your shoulder blades, your scapula, move down or scooch down your back. And just notice what that little adjustment has done to your posture. And then bring your focus to your breathing right now. Notice where your inhale, where your breath in happens in your body. Does it happen up in your chest? Are you breathing down into your abdomen? You're breathing diaphragmatically. And just resting here with your eyes closed, your shoulders moving back in space. You can relax your face, close your mouth, relax your jaw. You're breathing in and out through your nose. Let's just take a few moments here together to do just this. Try to relax any muscular tension in your body. Okay. And then keeping your eyes closed, move to the center of your chair. Just move forward a little bit, eyes closed. Continue to bring your shoulders back in space, shoulder blades down your back. And then bring your focus back to your posture, sitting up nice and tall. And then notice that subtlety there of your breath as it moves in and out through your nose. And of course, if you ever need to use your mouth to breathe or modify anything in any way, please do so. So as you're sitting here, again, notice anywhere that your muscles are gripping. Your muscles are unnecessarily being held tight, being contracted. So I mentioned the jaw earlier. Some other areas are the tops of the shoulders, the belly, the low back, the thighs, the feet, and toes. Take one more breath here. Okay, and when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. And I'll invite you to bring your fingertips or your fingers and or fingertips to the tops of your shoulders, just like this, okay? So they're gonna rest just like this. And if you can only do one arm, just do one arm, okay? No problem. So one or both arms. And look straight ahead. Keep your shoulders moving back in space and take a couple of breaths like this, okay? So as you're breathing, I'd like you to notice if when you breathe, your hands raise up, okay? So we want to try to take some breaths here. Keep the shoulders soft, or I like to say keep the shoulders quiet. And allow your breath to be down here in this region of your body. Good. Okay, Okay, a couple more moments. Okay, let's do the same thing. Reach your arms out to the sides. Keep them a little bit lower than your shoulders. Take a couple of breaths here. Okay, it might feel good for you to bring your hands back in space a little bit. Lift your chest up, lift your chin up. Take a breath in. Good, and then breathe out. Bring your hands to your thighs and rest. Wonderful. Okay, so bring your arms out into a goalpost position. And I'd like you to just twist a little bit to your right, keeping your hands in goalpost, your arms in goalpost, back to center, and then to the left. Okay, so just some rotation here to get us warmed up. If you have a back on your chair like I do, you might want to move forward a bit more. And remember, we're still focusing on our posture here. So your ears are lined up over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips. And then notice how my legs in front of me are at about a 90-degree angle. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm not tucking my legs way back in here. I'm not crossing my ankles. One's not out here. So they're about 90 degrees, right? All right, come back to center. Reach your arms up overhead as much as you'd like to reach them up, as much as they'll go. And then grab a hold of one wrist. I'm going to grab my right wrist right now, and then I'm going to lean over to the left. Okay? So notice when I'm leaning here, I'm not leaning forward like that. I'm keeping my chest lifted, and I'm seeing if I can lengthen and stretch this whole right side of my torso. Wonderful. Take another breath. Okay, come back to center. Lower your arms for a moment if you'd like to rest. Otherwise, you can go ahead and grab a hold of your left wrist. Give it a tug, a little gentle tug up so that you're lengthening this whole side here, and then you lean over to the right. Okay. And remember, just like everything, every movement here, it's going to look different for everybody. So your movement won't match mine exactly. We have different bodies, different experiences in our bodies, different ways of moving through life and through space, through our space around us. Take another breath here. Okay, come back to center, lower your arms, and then do a couple of shoulder rolls. Maybe you do one at a time. When you do one at a time, you can actually get a lot more range of motion. Okay, and do the other. Wonderful. Arms out in front of you, fingertips down, and then up. So notice how I'm working to keep my arms pretty straight. I'm not bending my elbows. Okay, my fingers are spread out. Yes. Okay, make fists. And again, I'm going to keep my elbows straight. Make some circles. Good. Other direction. All right, and rest here. So move toward the center of your chair. And I'd like you to, again, make the legs at about 90 degrees. Palms down, close your eyes, and we'll take a moment to reset. And when I say reset, we can think of that as being resetting your attention, your focus, resetting your posture, resetting your breath. And during class, during any class that you take with us, you can always pause and reset at any time. You can always take a rest. So before we move on to our next movement, take a note here if there's anywhere in your body that feels like it's it's talking to you, like it's wanting your attention. Maybe there's a few places, so take note of those places, very important. Okay, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And so we remember when we stand up, you want to hinge at your hips, right? So feet are out here. We have plenty of space in front of us to stand up. I'm going to hinge right at my hips and stand up. Wonderful. So come on over to your mat if you have a mat here. If you just have a carpet or whatever it is around you, you can also just stand on that. And then as usual, make sure that there's nothing around you. So obviously we're here in the studio. We don't have much here. We have a clear space, but make sure you don't have like a dresser around you that maybe you might accidentally bump into or something like that. So clear your space. And notice my feet are wider than my hips. So they're not super wide. I'm not struggling here, but they're pretty wide, okay? And then bend your knees, bring your arms out to the sides like this, okay? You'll see in a moment why I wanted you to check your space. And stay looking forward with your head. So notice I'm twisting here, but I'm looking forward with my head. And I'd like you to just start to rotate side to side. So we've already warmed up. We've already practiced rotation. So head stays forward. Okay, you can deepen this by bringing your arms around. Notice when I'm rotating, I'm lifting up my opposite heel. So when I go to the right, my left heel lifts up. Okay, if this feels okay for you, you can start to make this a bit more dynamic. So I'm actually swinging my arms and I'm letting them just go. Okay, it feels really good actually, but remember, you go at your own pace. You can actually just continue this, right? Do more of some slow, controlled movement or amp it up to this. Okay, you choose. You can change your mind. Okay, so one term that I like to talk about when I'm teaching movement is proprioception. And proprioception is feeling your body in space. Okay, let's start to slow down a little bit, come back to center. So feeling your body in space, I can feel and sense the back of my body. I can sense when my arms are moving in space and where they are, generally speaking, right? Let's step the feet together. Okay, turn your palms forward. Good, bring your shoulders back in space, stand up nice and tall. Take a breath in, reach your arms out, and then kind of make like a Y letter shape with your body. And then exhale, lower your arms. Okay, so proprioception, you're feeling, you're sensing your body in space. So there's a certain part of the brain called your cerebellum. And your cerebellum, it helps maintain your posture and it coordinates voluntary muscle movements. So between that part of your brain, your spinal cord, which is also in the back of comes out from the back of your brain, and your nerves, all these systems work together to help you balance and to help you bring yourself back into balance. Okay, so by doing practices such as this, let's rest for a moment. When you do these practices, you're helping to strengthen and integrate and connect all of these systems more and more and more. So we're practicing this, right? So let's try it. Let's try something else, okay, with that same principle. So take your feet out a little bit wider again, and then choose a foot. Turn that foot away from you. Okay, just like that. Got it? Bend into that knee. And then turn your palms away from you. And then reach your palms up. Good. Look toward the knee that's bent, toward the palm that's out in front of you, so that direction. And notice your proprioception here, the proprioceptive capabilities that you have. So we all have this. We're all born with this ability. We can strengthen it or we can ignore it, right? So right now we're choosing to pay attention to it. So notice your arms in space, your hands in space, your leg, your leg, your other leg, all your legs, your torso, your head. Okay, let's try the other direction. So lower your arms, straighten your front leg, bring your feet back to parallel. Turn your other foot out, and you'll bend into that knee, reach your arms up. So I don't know about you, but this way, this direction feels so different for me. Like inside of my body, not just the muscles, but just the way it feels in my body. So I don't know if you can sense that for yourself, if one way feels different, maybe one way just is a lot more comfortable for whatever reason. But these are really interesting things to notice when we're thinking about our posture and our balance, because this all translates into our everyday life, right? So let's take another moment here. Okay, lower your arms, straighten your leg, feet back together. And then let's try this, okay? So we're gonna heel toe the feet. So heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Let's go back out. So heel, toe, heel, toe. That way's a little bit more challenging. Heel, toe. Let's come back in one more time. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, and rest. Okay. So I invite you to, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. And if you're not so sure about the closing the eyes part while standing, just put your hand right here on a chair or maybe on that dresser that's not in your way now. It's going to be your support. So you'll close your eyes. And again, proprioception. Feeling, sensing your body and your body's movements in space. So as much as all of our bodies change throughout time and throughout our lives, there's still our bodies. There are vehicles of how we move through this life, through our life. And so in that way, it feels really important to me, really like an important concept for me to continue to remind myself of how important it is to take care of this body that I have. Take another few moments here. Okay, and you'll open your eyes, and if you are holding on to something, you are already exactly where you need to be. And if you're not yet holding on to anything, go ahead and find a chair, find a wall. So here's my imaginary wall here, and you'll put your hand right there on that wall, chair, whatever it is, okay? So shift your weight over into one foot, and then see if you can bend one of your legs, the other leg, bend your knee, and grab a hold of your foot. Okay, so this is just an option here to practice balancing like this. And I'll show you from the side, if you can't quite grab a hold of the foot, that requires actually a lot of flexibility in the hip flexor, your quad, and then of course the shoulder needs to open up. You can always just do this, right? Okay, this is a lot of stretch and strengthening here that's happening. So then let's just hold here. Sensing your body in space, noticing, strengthening your proprioceptive capabilities. And then you might even want to reach one arm, the other arm out to the side. Maybe you reach it up overhead. Okay, for those of you who are familiar with the pose that we're sort of working up to right now, it's called King Dancer's Pose. You know that if you start to push your foot into your hand and squeeze your glute behind you, you can start to tip forward. And notice I'm hinging at my hips just like we do when we stand up. Okay, you can also try this and put your hand on the chair, right? Okay, so let's come out of this very slowly. Align your knees with one another. Release your foot if you have it. Let's try the other side. Okay, so you'll bend the other knee. Okay? And you can practice right here. This is a wonderful practice, just like this. And notice, I know you can see it here with my knees. See how my knees are basically in line with one another? I'm not doing this. This is another movement we do sometimes, but it's back here. So I'm kicking back behind me, that motion, okay? Okay, maybe you go ahead and grab your foot. Awesome if you can do that. Okay. And lengthen, stand up tall. Good. And practice your balance here. So remember, we're strengthening these systems, the cerebellum, the spinal cord, the nerves that come out of that spinal cord. They're all working together as a system to integrate and connect so that we are able to do things like this, right? And then maybe you try to push your foot into your hand, tilt forward a little bit. Notice I'm lifting up my chest as I do this. So this is a back bend. Okay. Come out of this very slowly. Start to lower your foot. Good. And take your feet out a little bit wider than your hips. And then just roll your shoulders around a little bit. Good. Make some ankle and some wrist circles. Okay. And then let's come back to the chair. And you can have a seat in your chair. Okay, so let's sit again right in the center of it. So you're not leaning back. Okay. So palms are down on your thighs. And look straight ahead. And see here, we're going to get a little bit subtle, a little bit into the subtleties of posture. See here with your inner eye, if you can sense that you're lifting your chin up like this. So I invite you to not do that. I invite you to sense, if you have a mirror around you, that would be amazing if you could look in the mirror. So I want you to sense and see, is my chin about parallel with the floor? Okay, so there's all these little things, these little reminders that we can do throughout the day. So this is one of them. Is my chin parallel with the floor? Are my shoulders moving back? Am I lifting up right here, this sternum area? Okay, am I lifting up out of my low back? How's my breathing? Okay, another thing that you might notice, and this is where a mirror is really helpful, is your head kind of going off to the side like this? Sometimes that happens, right? We don't realize it, but our head just sort of does that. We have our patterns. We all do it. Our patterns, our ways of moving when we're not thinking about it. So just right now, while we are thinking about it together, notice your head. Is my head tilting? You know, do I just do this with my head, or am I typically doing this because I'm reading something at a certain angle, or this movement helps release some tight muscle that's back here. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons we do things like that we do, right? Okay, so I told you we were going to get a little subtle here. And then, to go back to some other principles that we talk about, we don't want to be robotic. We don't want this to be it has to be like this perfectly. We're all human, right? So we know these principles. We know, what our correct posture, what our correct skeletal alignment feels like for us and the way that's unique for us. And we want to be kind of soft with it as well. Okay, so I know, I hope it's not too boring for you, but we're just sitting, we're noticing the chin, we're noticing if we're moving the head around, we're tucking the chin, if we're lifting it up, anything like that. And then you're softening any edges that might have come up. Okay, good. So remember, that's something that you can just practice and take with you throughout your day. So get comfortable. Let's conclude today with just a little relaxation. And for this relaxation, let's turn the palms up and allow your eyes to close. And so I know today we didn't do too much of a workout or anything like that, but I'd be really curious to know, does your body feel different? Just with the things that we did, which are very specific, does your body feel different, and how? In what ways does it feel different? And then in what ways do you feel different? Okay, so you're welcome to sit here for a little bit longer if you'd like. But if you are ready to move on with the rest of your day, I invite you to open your eyes and just become aware of your surroundings again. And thank you so much for joining me. My name is Francesca, and this is Physio Ed.